All right, welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Tom Vasel. This is my co-host Holly, and we're here today talking about my top 100 board games, and we're getting very close to the top at this point. Today we're talking about numbers 11 through 15. These are 5 games I think are fantastic. All 5 of them have been in my top 10 at one point or the other. The only reason they're not in there is because there's even better games. But these are games, some of these I recommend that every person have in their collection, and just tremendously good games. So let's start with number 15, which is my favorite party game, and that would be Time's Up. Now, I don't have the original version of Time's Up with me right now. Someone else is borrowing it. This is the newest version, Time's Up Title Recall. The first version has people. The second one has titles of movies, books, songs. And in the game, you're going to be playing with 40 cards, and on these cards, you'll have different names. For example, One Day at a Time, The Munsters, Stranger in a Strange Land, The Ed Sullivan Show, The Divine Comedy, Purple Rain, YMCA. And you're trying to get your partner to guess these. You can use clues, any clues you want in the first round. In the second round, one-word clues. And in the third round, pantomime only, but as many noises as you want along the way. And that just really brings in a fun aspect to the game. It's a lot of fun trying to get other people to guess. I have yet to play this game without people just absolutely rolling on the floor in laughter. It's fun just to watch. It's fun trying to get people to guess clues, especially when they have no idea what's on the card. The people version is great, but this Title Recall is even a better version. They have a brand new version out with a timer. It's an excellent party game, and one I think everybody should have, and you should play at least once in your lifetime. This is a party game that will give you an experience you'll never forget. So my number 15 is Time's Up. Number 14 is a game I think everyone should own. I just said that. A 2-player game, Lost Cities by Reiner Knizia. Now, some people disparage the game because really the game doesn't have much in it other than a board and a deck of oversized cards. And really, the gameplay is so simple that you think, well, why is this one of your favorites? I can't explain it. I've played it dozens, maybe hundreds of times, and yet I enjoy it just as much every time. Trying to place the cards in front of you in sequential order, but at the same time, keeping your opponent from placing them in front of them. And there's just that moment of indecision. Should I discard this card so that I don't clog up my hand, knowing that my opponent may need this card? How many cards of his am I going to try and keep in my hands? How far am I willing to push to go for a certain set? This is just a tremendously fun game. My wife and I love it, even though there have been times where I've hurled the cards across the room because I've lost in a close match. But it's just fun. Fun, 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 and it's a great game for 2 people, Lost Cities, and so that's my number 19. Now, number 18, I'm sorry, did I say number 19? That was number 14. Number 13 is a game by the same designer and almost similar. And I like the games almost equally, but this one I actually like a little bit better, and that's Battle Line, which coincidentally is made by one of the biggest war game companies there is, GMT. There you go. And this game also is made up of a deck of cards with various numbers and colors on them. But in this one, you're trying to get groups of 3 that are stronger than your opponent's group of 3. The strongest you can get is 3 numbers, like 666 or 555, and having the higher group of 3 numbers, and they're sequential, getting 3 cards all the same color, 3 cards with the highest actually is 3 cards sequential of the same color. And after that is 3 numbers. And really, knowing which combo is better than the other, knowing how many cards have been played in the deck, proving that you can say there's no way you can win this flag because you're trying to win various flags. And then, of course, you can even add in some of these tactic cards, which throw a little bit of chaos into the game and uncertainty, but to me, bring it up a notch. Battle Line is a game, I think it has less luck than Lost Cities. Both of them have a certain amount of luck in which cards you get. But both of them, I have a higher winning percentage than not, especially against people who haven't played very often or much before, because there is a lot of tactics, there is a lot of strategy, knowing what cards could possibly come up, trying to figure out the averages, pushing your luck a little bit, trying to get to a certain number. Yes, ma'am? Yes. Oh, no, you can have those for now. And just trying to get all those things done, just trying to get the numbers out, trying to get the flags, capture the different flags. To me, this game offers a little bit more depth just because of the whole, well, I can prove that you can't beat that because these cards have been discarded or these cards are no longer in play. I like that a little bit better than Lost Cities, but really the difference between 14 and 13, very small indeed. So my number 13 is Battle Line. All right, number 12, one of my favorites. And it's a German game that I pasted up a bit, and that's Wallenstein. Now, they've recently reissued Wallenstein as Shogun, and I still think Shogun's a very fine game, but I don't want to get rid of Wallenstein because I believe that the map in Wallenstein is far superior to that in Shogun, because here there's a lot more fighting, while in Shogun there's a tendency to hole up. What makes Wallenstein great? It's this right here. 1 and 2 and 3. All right, hang on. Let's pour these cubes into the tower. This is a cube tower. It's not a dice tower, like the name of our show. And what you do is, when you're fighting your enemy, you're going to be pouring cubes into that tower, and whoever has more cubes come out wins the game. But if you look in the tower, and it's hard to see, but you can see even now as I shook it, more cubes came out, because there's areas in here in which the cubes can get caught. That's a really good combat thing. It's fun. Throwing a few cubes of your color, throwing a few cubes of the other. You see I just threw some cubes in a tower. Now I shake it, and some cubes have been caught up in there. And those cubes might get loose and come out in future battles. That's cool in of itself. But the game itself is even better than that, because there's back and forth negotiation. There's trying to conquer other lands. There's trying to provide wheat for your people. And the gameplay is excellent beyond this. But this is what takes the cake. And this is what makes Wallenstein my number 12. All right, let's move this cube tower for a moment, Holly. And let's move this, because we don't have much room now, because Game 11 is a monster game. Game 11 is a game that if I'm going to play it, I need to check out the day, check out the players, and have everything in advance, because 11 is space opera epic, and that is Twilight Imperium. This is a heavy, heavy box. And inside it, it is full of tons of pieces. The rule book, which I know you want, and plastic pieces, plastic ships, tons of cards, tons of planets, hexes that go together to form a galaxy that just is tremendously fun. This picture in the front makes this look like one of the most exciting games there is. And this picture is true, because the game is full of politics, it's full of warfare, it's full of negotiation, it's full of diplomacy, it's full of backstabbing, and it takes a long time to play. That could be a downfall, and that's probably why it's no longer in my top 10. Here, sit over here for a moment. But even with it being that long, I cannot forget about any of the Twilight Imperium games that I played. All of them I remember fairly distinctly. I remember who was playing. I remember what happened in each game. I remember who was playing what race, because the game, like I said last time with Arkham Horror, becomes a story. It's really the epic space battle in the box. And I don't think anyone's ever really going to be able to duplicate it unless they're trying to revise the system. I played other games that are shorter, and maybe like Nexus Ops or Galactic Emperor, and they kind of get the same feel in a much shorter period of time. But I'm telling you, this is the 3rd edition, and with the expansion, Shattered Empires, there's so many options. There's so much for you to do. There's a technology tree, which allows you to just make your race anything you want, but then you already start with differentiated races. You have options of whether expanding as fast as you can. What ships? Are you going to build these War Suns, which, let's just call them what they are, Death Stars? You can upgrade planets. You can buy diplomats. There's so many options that I think you could play this a different way 20 times in a row and have 20 very different games, especially with the expansion added. Okay, I've been raving a little bit about this game, but that's because it truly is a great game. It's one of my favorite games, number 11, of course. It's a giant game. I guess I can use this box to bury someone in someday, but it's just a fantastic, fun game. And yet there are 10 games that are better. What are they? Come back next time. We're going to tell you about 4 of them. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and this is the very cute Holly. We'll see you guys next time. You guys say goodbye.